gentlemen, there's one other thing I was going to cover tonight, and that is, I know you're all big fans of Captain Marvel. Like, we all are here, and we want to see it succeed. But the future of the franchise is in doubt. And brace yourselves for this one, because this came about like a week or so ago, but I wanted to cover it now because I've never had a chance to get onto it yet. So Nia DaCosta, the director of The Marvels, which is effectively Captain Marvel 2, was talking about the prospects of the franchise moving forward. She said that she had shared her future ideas with Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige. And apparently, according to her, she received a mixed reception from him, sometimes thinking that, hey, I've got a movie going, and other times feeling that there's a whole other plan that I'm not part of. She also went on to say that in terms of women-led films and women as superheroes in particular, and excitement around that, I think it's just about whether or not the movie's good, especially now that there are more and more action or superhero movies with female leads. And I just thought, oh, you're almost there. But like, if you're going to hang your hat on whether or not your movie's actually good in terms of getting like future sequels, I'm not sure if Captain Marvel 2 is the way you want to go. It's not the hill I would want to die on. That's
not
for sure.
favoring you. No.
What a crazy thought of trying to make it a good film or as good as possible. What a crazy.
The villain has a grill.
Well, you'll be pleased to know, right? Because it's going to be funny, right? She said the biggest difference between this and the other MCU movies to date is that it's wacky and silly. Yay. The worlds that we go into in this movie are worlds unlike others you've seen in the MCU. Bright worlds that you've never seen before.
So hang on, the MCU hasn't been wacky or silly yet. And like,
no, it's been dour and serious. Like, yeah. And I just thought,
was dark.
I just thought, like, what balls on this woman to say, like, well, the success of this franchise is going to depend on whether or not Captain Marvel 2 is good.
It's the quiet part out loud. She just said what we all knew. They just get hired because they're terrible and because they're women.
Yeah. I just think there's almost this there's this slight hint of like reality starting to creep in where she's like, people are kind of over superhero movies now, and if anyone's going to watch them, it has to be really fucking good to attract people's attention. It's almost like the next step is to say, my movie isn't it, but she's not going to say that.
No.
You wonder sometimes what planet they're on, these sort of, progressive, for want of a better word, there's all sorts of words you could use. But sort of, what planet are they on? Like, what could they possibly be thinking? You know, she wants to make it wacky. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I think at this point, it's just like we're throwing anything we've got against the wall. It's like, what can you say to recommend your film at this point? Like, I don't know. It's wacky and funny, I guess. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Let's
truly know they have nothing. They have absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I mean, because like in the past, you might have been able to say like, well, it's got Brie Larson in it. She's a big star.
Theoretically.
Yeah. In 2023, not so much.
They put her with two diversity hires, haven't they? Miss Marvel and Monica Rambeau, who look just as boring as she does.
Yeah, I mean, I never understood what even she was, because she went into WandaVision, walked through a barrier, like an energy barrier, and then just became a flumpy, like, I can absorb energy kind of person.
That's what I do.
Yeah, sure, okay.
Make loads of sense.
That's what you are. And like then Ms. Marvel, like nobody in their right mind watched her show, so they don't even know what she is. Like, I don't know, could she make her fists really big so she can punch things extra hard?
She's a knockoff Green Lantern.
Like, Marvel has been desperate to make Miss Marvel a thing for years. They have been pushing that character so much and failing almost like every single time. No one is interested in this character. And I actually gave Miss Marvel, the TV show, a go. And I actually thought it wasn't the worst thing Marvel had done. I've checked out. I was not interested. It was a teen girl, show made for teen girls. I thought the main actress was actually really charming and she did a great job. But I checked out because I just wasn't interested. No one was interested in it. And you're right. Like, these are the characters they're trying to attract people to the Marvels. It's not working.
What happened to the She-Hulk show? Did that die on its ass, or what happened?
Are they getting a season 2? Because I heard rumors.
I've only seen a headline. I don't know if it's true or not.
Right. Yeah, that's up there with Velma as like legit one of the most despised shows of like modern era.
Here's another thing, and maybe I could be accused of being in sort of very real sense an old school misogynist for saying what I'm about to say, but lots of women in the real world, actual real life women and girls, they don't aspire to be a massive hulking She-Hulk type Miss Marvel super badass hard nut. They don't want to be that. So
I think
what's the audience for it?
Yeah, right? I think this is ties into like what we discussed previously about why Barbie was so successful, because it was a movie that was unashamedly marketed to women, where it's like, okay, it's very feminine, it's like bright colors, it's very pink, and like it's just, you got Margot Robbie. She's not like an ass kicking like girl boss. She is a very feminine, beautiful woman in that movie, and that's perhaps why it was so wildly successful. The problem is that they've tried to bend traditionally male franchises, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's Star Trek, whether it's Marvel, around women to try and make it appeal to them. And it hasn't worked because by and large, that's not their interest. It's not their power fantasy of being like a big hulking powerful superhero. That's not what they're looking for. And it's not what they want to see in cinema, and so they've not gone to go and support it. And all they've done is alienate their traditionally male audience, because they've straight up said, "This isn't for you anymore. This is girl oriented."
Yeah, like women aping men, right? Most blokes just find it stupid or absurd or laughable or something. Most women don't really like it either. Like, I think it was you, Drink, or maybe it was somebody said a long time ago, again about Ghostbusters 2016. You know how like Kate McKinnon stands, the way she holds herself in her gait, like pretending to be a dude. Like, no men actually stand like that. It's a stupid parody of a man. Like, and I see a bit of that in some of the female characters in Ashoka.
It's penis envy.
It's like there's an element perhaps in Ahsoka where they say like, well, the traditionally masculine heroes are super stoic, they're emotionally guarded, they don't give much away, and so we're going to ape that. But they do it to such a ridiculous extent that it becomes a parody. It's not like it's not
believable,
relatable.
Is it? Right? Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's still very much about execution, because there are shows with, in fact, it was a cluster of them, more late 90s, early 2000s, right? So I was just thinking about Buffy and Alias and someone with Jessica Alba, was like Dark Angel or something. There are plenty of TV shows about.
Well, the example I cite is Erin Sun from Farscape.
Yeah,
where it's like you've got a very tough, strong female character, but like she also has moments of emotional vulnerability that make her relatable. It's like they're not afraid to go into those areas with the character, and that's what makes them interesting. Like, you've got a shield between them and the rest of the world, but then you get to see the real person underneath it occasionally.
The classic example you've said before, Drinker, is Ripley from Aliens. Like a true, believable badass, and sort of emotionally fragile, and just all of those things, and nobody hates her. You definitely empathize with Ripley, right? So it can be done. It can absolutely be done.
Yeah, I mean, she worked so well because she was the voice of reason she was the voice of the audience, like, you know, for so much of the first Alien movie. It's like, no, we shouldn't let this fucking crew member who's got an alien parasite attached to his face into the ship. Like, that's really dangerous. We shouldn't do that. You know, gets overruled, but like, and she gets scared and she gets you know, freaked out by stuff that happens because that's what the audience would feel.
Can I just say, because I fucking adore Alien. That bit of writing is so good. That would be normal in terms of a sort of precaution or a protocol in the future. It will be when someone gets hit by something on an alien planet, we don't let them on board. And so why does he get on board? Because Ash lets him on board manually. Yeah. Why does Ash do that? Because he's under command from Wayland Corp to get that alien on board. It's so fucking good. You don't even get that at the time. You're like, why did that just happen? It's like,
but like his explanation for why he did it makes sense in the context of like what you saw. Like, that's why it works on two levels. And it carries over into the second movie where she's like, you know, recognizes like, well, okay, if these Marines fire all their pulse rifles in this like highly dangerous reactor area, isn't it going to cause an overload and blow the place up? Oh shit, we never thought of that. But like, she recognizes it. Like, again, she's just the voice of reason in all of this. She's not trying to make some feminist point about why women are better than men or anything. It's just like, no, I'm just a rational person, like using the knowledge I have at my disposal to try and keep everyone from getting killed.
And she's
that's great. Like we get her, but like we totally empathize with her because she's us.
Yeah. She's like a legitimate badass that can kill a queen alien. She's like more badass than Marines, but she's also a mother to Newt, basically, some sort of surrogate mother. And it works. She doesn't have to be a parody of a man in any way.
Yeah.
That seems to be a big thing that modern writers are missing, because like when I'm writing characters, right, of course, a big distinctive element of their character is their gender, male and female. And so when I'm writing a male character, what are the male characteristics I'm going to give this character? And I'm going to make ones that are more emphasized and pronounced and other ones that are lesser. And same with female characters. What are this character's feminine characteristics if they're a woman? Because they should feel like a woman if that's what they are. Where in these modern characters, Ahsoka is a great example. Like, what are Sabine's feminine characteristics? As like, can we name any?
She has a Karen haircut.
Yeah, Barney.
And the contrast is stark when we compare someone like Ripley, and one of the more recent actual good examples is Alita Battle Angel. One of the reasons I love that movie is the character. She was great, and they allowed her to be distinctly feminine while also being a legitimate badass, and I just love the film as a result. But modern writers, men and women, you're saying they're different is problematic, and therefore writing them different would be problematic as well.
Well, one of the good movies that I saw relatively recently was Fall. You know, that one about the two girls who climb up to the top of a TV tower, and they get stranded up there. The ladder collapses behind them, and they're stuck at the top of this thing, and they're just on this tiny little platform. They could fall off at any moment. The main character in that is a deeply flawed character with all kinds of hang-ups and traumas that she's dealing with. But you absolutely get behind her because you can understand where she's coming from, because she's an empathetic, well-written character. Again, that's just it's not difficult necessarily. It's just like you have to be willing to let your characters have a little bit of vulnerability and a little bit of, flaws and human frailties.